Howdy y'all, I'm Ghost6. I'm back with a new video for Marvel Spider-Man 2 for the PS5. So yesterday I did a short on the gameplay trailer, and I honestly just found that I didn't have enough time to speak on what I felt about it and the different aspects it could go for the story. So I wanted to do a whole video just to encapsulate my thoughts and feelings and possible theories on where this could go, right? Okay, so first I want to talk about the combat in this game. So obviously with the two different games, combat could feel really stale when you went through the whole game, right? So it looks like they took different liberties on how to make it more unique and fresh, right? Like we see in one of the clips, Peter's beating up a guy against the side of a house, but he's holding himself up with one arm and just kicking the guy over and over, right? And then we get to see double takedowns, which are nice, right? That's different. I've never seen that in any Spider-Man game. We get to see more of the web pulls. So in one of the shots in the trailer, we see how Peter grabs someone with a web and he's just yanking them left and right instead of just towards him. So that's really cool to see also. Now, another thing they updated from the last games is their chasing mechanics, because before they would have a random car that would be speeding and some thug was in there and you had to stop it. And this time they show jet skis and that they're chasing jet skis. I feel like it's definitely different and it's nice to have something new and definitely just fresh overall, right? Now, I don't know how to feel about Miles' powers on their progression from his last game, right? Because when they started off, it was just basic Miles powers, except a little more overdone, in my opinion. Now he has a Venom jump and a Venom dash and stuff, right? But now he looks like Emperor Palpatine, and he's just chucking lightning everywhere, and it's blue, which I'm assuming is him generating his own lightning this time instead of just taking it, because in the trailer we get to see a part where he takes energy from a lamp and then dishes it out, so that could just be a good foreshadow for how his powers have developed. But it's definitely different, and I don't know how to feel about it so far. Now for the plot, obviously we see Kraven, right? And he's probably going to be a really big villain for most of it. He could be the Mr. Negative if you played the Spider-Man PS4 game, right? Where he was the villain for a good half of it and then maybe transitioned into maybe Venom or whatever, right? But I definitely can see how they're going to go with this, because in one of the gameplay shots they show one of his little hunters, I guess is what they call them, showing him a screen, and it shows all these different characters that we've seen before, like Shocker, Prowler, Black Cat, a lot of people from the prisons, right, that are super powered, and obviously the two Spider-Men, right? So this is great, right? And then we also get to see a new character that we have already seen before, but we finally get to see how they turn into their supervillain persona of the Wraith. So that's gonna be cool to see. Now, with the gameplay trailer, we saw how Kraven's been trying to hunt Kirk Connors, or the Lizard, right? And the Lizard gets his own new look now. They usually do this with each Spider-Man media. I don't know if there's a certain thing, they just don't like his original look or not. Because we saw this in Amazing Spider-Man 2, where he was more humanoid. We see in the comics, he's just straight up lizard. And then we see this, he looks more like Killer Croc or dinosaur-like, right? So that's interesting. But yeah, obviously Kirk Connors became the Lizard again at some point. We know in the games before that, he's been helping Norman Osborn with the Harold Osborn treatments and stuff, right? Because in the little snippets we do get, he's the main scientist that's always there. I'm assuming Peter Parker at some point shows up in the game, right, and trying to find Kirk Connors because he doesn't show up or whatever, right, and accidentally falls upon the symbiote, right? And I believe this will lead into how he gets it, because when we finally get to see how the gameplay works, right, and the switching, and when Miles finally sees Peter, he admits that these are new threats, which means he hasn't had the symbiote for too long. And given the initial suit up where it looks weird and then becomes a normal symbiote looking costume, that could make sense to it, right? Now, as far as symbiotes go, I honestly feel like this is probably one of the more vicious symbiotes in any of the media, right? Because immediately off the bat, if this is Peter getting the symbiote for the first time, he does short work of everyone. I get his normal spider powers are a thing, but the way he uses the symbiote off the bat is insane, right? He's already making tendrils, he's already making shields when he's about to get hit, and he's using the ferocious side of it immediately. So this could spell out a different type of danger as far as symbiotes go and how it could affect them mentally. Also, a good thing to notice is that since the map is bigger now, right? Like, I'm pretty sure everyone's heard this, but I think they said Queens and Brooklyn is going to be playable areas now. When we open up with the trailer at Kirk Connor's house, that's actually Queens, which is nice to see that it's actually going to be playable. It's also like more of a small town-like area, so that's really cool to see, right? It's definitely different from just parks or the big city in the Marvel Spider-Man and Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, right? Now, one thing I hope is that they don't try to force characters in. Like, I love when they introduce different characters from different games because it shows the payoffs, right? But I don't want them to feel like they need to force different characters like Genki. Like, I don't want to see him in a drone during the whole game, right? Like, if it makes sense for the story, I'm totally fine for it. But if it's forced, I hope they don't do that. But again, I love it still. Now with the story, now that we know the hunters and Kraven the Hunter are trying to find the lizard because presumably he's the biggest threat at this point, more animalistic like, right? Given his lizard treatment and how it's developed, right? It really goes to show where the story's gonna go. Like, I can see most of the game them just trying to find the lizard and Spider-Man just trying to stop them, right? And in the meanwhile, just becoming Venom. So it's gonna be an interesting plot, and I hope they do something different so it doesn't just feel like a stereotypical, like, Kraven story. But I'm glad he's finally getting some good love here and not like, oh, is this going to be good or is this going to be garbage? You know, like the stories or possibly the movie even, right? Now, here's my theory talk for this. So, obviously, I talked a little bit about my theories on how this is going to work, right? But I can honestly see them going down this route where it's like, over the story, different things are going to happen, right? Maybe Peter's going to suffer with his relationship because he has the Venom symbiote, right? It's going to make him a little more darker, a little more depressed, right? So the symbiote's obviously going to feed off of that. And it's going to be like this loop, right? Where, oh, okay, if he feels more depressed, the symbiote feeds, and then just over and over, right? I feel like as the game goes on more and more, Peter's going to become like a Venom, probably in like the early phase of Venom, right? Not like full-blown Venom where it's like, oh yes, we, and all this stuff, right? Because honestly, with the games, they showed how Peter was struggling with Dr. Octopus and how the tentacles were affecting Otto, right? So it would be a good parallel to show like, oh, okay, Peter's going through a similar thing because this thing's also affecting his mind and how he's going to think, right? And is he going to be the hero that he was trying to preach to Dr. Octopus, or is he going to lose himself just like Otto, right? And my theory on who's going to become Venom, because obviously the chance of Eddie Brock being in there is a possibility, but the fact that we've never seen him at all, like we've got little Easter eggs here and there, but I doubt we'll get an Eddie Brock Venom, at least in this game. Yeah, definitely the more logical theory, in my opinion, is it's going to be Harry Osborn, right? Because we've already seen him exposed to the symbiote, and with their temporary bond with Peter, right? I could easily see how the Venom symbiote will get its powers and pass them on to Harry, right? And it's not been unheard of before, right? Like, we've seen Harry get the Venom symbiote, whether it be a garbage show or not, it's a different story. But it has been done before, is my point. And how they paid it off, I feel like this would actually do it some justice, as opposed to feeling rushed and, like, just needed to create a sticky dynamic, right? Here's my overall review, though. I honestly feel like this game is going to be different and unique, and with the increase of like what they added to this game, right? Like different mechanics, different swinging mechanics, that's going to be nice to see. I want to see how the Venom symbiote affects the swing mechanics also. Like, is he going to still be webs, or is he going to be like tendrils, right? It's going to be amazing to see, right? Obviously with the web wings, that's going to add a whole new mechanic that I'm excited for personally. I hope it doesn't feel weird at times, but again, that's going to be dope. I'm really hoping we get a lot of crazy new suits, right? I heard there was a theory out there, for a side tangent, that all the same suits from the first games and Miles Morales games were going to be in this game, so hopefully that's the case. But hopefully we also get a symbiote version of each suit. Even if Miles doesn't get a symbiote, I hope we get that for him, because I honestly die to have a symbiote Miles suit for once in the game, right? Honestly, I'm really hyped for this game, and I'm glad they took their time because it shows with that gameplay trailer. Now, if there's anything you want to see me talk about in the future or for my channel, whether that be toys, games, reviews, whatever, please just hit me up and hit the like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.